Donnell Rawlings is here. This is incredible. Shout out to our guy Donnell Rawlings. You know him, you love him, whether it's Chappelle's show, whether it's BMF or his own comedy stand-up. Good morning to you.
It's a lot of Latinos in here
I
today.
know. Yeah. Does it smell like beans?
Nah, I'm
smell
not
like a bean burrito?
you're not going to cancel me today.
Right. We'll cancel ourselves.
I've been trying to do it for 30 years, and you're not going to cancel me in a day.
You and DoKnow have something in common. He's trying to cancel himself too.
Yeah.
He's younger though. He's 22.
You can't be worried about cancel when you kicking it with Dave Chappelle.
No, you got a good point.
Yeah.
I tell people, only time when it comes to cancel culture, the only thing they really want to do is cancel you making money.
Ooh,
Like they get excited,
yeah.
like when they hear like Walmart dropped them, ABC dropped them. They
Right.
get like they get their rocks
They
off.
want that. They want the bank accounts canceled.
They
canceled.
want the money canceled. But in my case, doing 30 years, I do a little acting stuff, but I really don't create a lifestyle from acting. It's stand up.
It's stand up.
And it's been 30 years of me going to these comedy clubs every year. So if I'm not on a TV show or not in a movie, you
Still
can't
be
stop.
making money.
You can't stop me from making money. So cancel culture, y'all can cancel culture. You can get which finger? It's the one in the middle.
I know. Hey, in Stand and Deliver, a Latino hood classic, they know their ones, their twos, and their threes.
And that's it.
So there you go. Look,
Yo, you're the lead of this show. That's awesome.
yeah, right,
No, I'm just saying, no disrespect to these men that couldn't get this job.
right.
But I've been doing radio, off and on radio for like 30 years, right? And I remember in New York when Miss Jones, she was a part of the what was it, Star and Buck Wild crew, and then she was the first female lead in the show.
Mornings.
And to this day, you don't ever see it. So
It's
I
tough.
gotta give you a props
Donnell,
for
thank you,
being
bro.
here.
Thank you,
And
because it's
put
been a
these
long
men
time
in
coming.
check.
That
That's
part,
right. That's right.
They hate it, but they love it at the same time.
No,
They're
good.
used to Latina moms yelling at them,
Yeah,
and I have 3 kids
it's pretty
plus
normal.
them,
It's pretty
so
normal
they're used to
at this
it.
point.
So they're ready for it.
Okay.
What's the most craziest thing you've ever wanted to say about Mexicans that we're allowing you to say right now? Because
No, I
we
just-
are-
offense.
we
You
are
got the
truly-
hood
we
pass,
are
because then
truly-
it's our turn.
Because
No, the craziest thing is like when I go to Home Depot, is that enough right there? I can't say nothing else.
Which one
I'm
of
like,
our
leave
uncles?
me alone.
Facts.
I don't want help.
You know what they're saying? Well, you can't cancel this culture. I need to put money in my bank account. Yeah.
I'll let you do the accent because if I do the accent, it's done. You know the guy here. That's my accent.
Do you think it?
I say Mexicans
You
do
need
what
your
I call,
paints. Wait, you need your walls painted.
I say Mexicans do what I call ESL charades.
I love it.
Right?
I love it.
It's when you know half the words and then the words you don't know, you got to act out.
Act it out.
Right? When I
Ooh,
used to live in New York, I had a Mexican super, right? And this guy used to walk his dog, and the dog used to take a poop in front of the building, right? And he used to get mad. And I'd be like, well, he said, you know, the guy here. And then he would put his hands in the air like to show how tall he was.
How tall the guy is?
And then he was like, the doggy, you know, the doggy. And then he'd be like, he said, you know, the doggy here, the doggy, he take it, I don't know what take it.
Yeah, what take it to mean?
And in certain cultures, it can mean a lot of things, right?
True.
But he said the doggy, he taking a poop. He said the doggy, he taking a poop. He didn't say he taking a poop. The pick of the poop. That's not my job.
That's not my job.
That's not my job.
He say that's not my job. Right?
Yeah.
So I pulled out $50. He said, "Oh, I have a new job." Right?
My new job. I will take that
He
job.
said, I will say Mexicans.
You
will
sound like
take-
my dad right now,
they-
though, with that.
Mexicans will take all the jobs in the world.
Yeah,
So.
all the jobs.
Hardworking people. I
Yeah.
have no beef.
Nah,
with
And
them.
for
facts.
something like $50, damn, I'd take
Oh,
5
yeah.
jobs for that.
I think he even offered me his wife for another
Yep.
50.
Yep.
I was about to get
you would have
paid.
knocked down Maria. You would have knocked down Maria.
Yeah, I would have took her down.
All right. Donnell, by the way, you know that was a Mexican super out there? Because low-key to us, we feel like this is the Mexican Mecca out there, but there are a lot of Mexican people also in New York. We didn't know
I mean,
that.
we don't know. Black people don't know.
Yeah.
Mexican,
Oh, so you talking
Salvadorian,
about I knew it!
Pupusa eater.
It was a Dominican! It was a Dominican!
What I do know is he used to watch soccer at like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
That's one thing we all do.
That could be any of us.
Doesn't narrow
Anybody
it
that
down.
speaks Spanish, it could have been a Puerto Rican, a Dominican.
Anybody.
Did he go? Did he do that?
Yeah, but everybody does that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
No, that's
No,
our
you don't
thing.
say go food.
No, I don't. But
You
I,
say
when I
touchdown.
watch it, it's no, it's like David's go.
Yeah.
That's
You
how
have
do it.
just won over so many hearts in Los Angeles
Oh,
right
that's all
now.
good.
And by the way, you are going to be at the Ontario Improv. It's going down tomorrow. St. Patrick's Day is your
Yeah.
first night there.
Yep.
What's the vibe out there that you're
For
going to
me,
bring? Yes.
fire.
Fire.
You know, I tell people I'm not cocky about a lot of things. In my acting, I'm still learning. Whenever I do it, whenever I
Wow.
do a gig, I'm learning. I give more excited by learning from like really seasoned actors. I'm not a seasoned actor. I've been lucky enough to get some work. But when it comes to stand-up, I consider myself pound for pound one of the best to do it.
Undeniable.
That's where if my confidence comes from anything in entertainment comes from that, because that's a place where I can be the freest. I can say what I want. I don't subscribe to cancel culture.
No.
And not to say that I'm a wild child, just say anything, because I do think there's a level of responsibility to what you say.
Yeah.
Some people make the argument like freedom of speech. Okay, freedom of speech is one thing, but you don't have the freedom to be ignorant and to be stupid.
That part. Yep.
So I think it's really smart that you pick your battles. But when it comes to stand up, that's my thing. I just got off of a tour.
Man.
I was in Europe. I did 2 weeks with Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle in Europe. Came back to LA for one day. Then went on another arena tour with Chappelle, a good friend Marshall Brandon, and Jeff Ross. And we were performing for like 15 to 20,000 people a night.
Wow.
Oh my God.
And it was interesting because I have been doing it a while. And like for the most part, people know me from the Chappelle show. So when I do arenas in the States, it's like you've seen them on The Wire, and I get a couple claps.
Yeah.
You've seen them and blah, 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 blah. I get a couple claps. But then, because nobody knows, they know I'm close today, but they don't know if I'm going to perform.
Right.
And then they say, but you fell in love with him as Ashy Larry.
Let's go!
Yes.
And literally every time,
Ashy Larry.
it's like 15,000 people
Yeah.
going ape caca.
Yep. The
Because
poop.
people don't
No,
know
yup.
The boot.
it's such a legendary character. Like, it was, I felt like one of his first breakthrough characters, like on the Chappelle show, that everybody instantly was like,
Yep. Could
Ashy
identify.
Larry.
Yep.
that was hilarious.
But the funny thing is, so like, I would love to go out and do a podcast to talk about what you didn't know about different scenes. But the Ashy Larry character, he wasn't ashy. Like on the show, if you took an editor, did a timeline of every time I spoke on the show, it probably, out of 2.5 years, it probably would equate to about 20 minutes in actual talking time.
Right.
Yeah.
So I always knew whatever they gave me or whatever I did, I had to be funny off the
Yep.
rip.
yeah, like physically.
You know what I mean? Physically, the look of it.
Yeah.
So when I looked at the sketch, it said his name was just, it was Larry. And I was like, I want to, and I knew he was wearing boxers with like shoes. And I said, I want to be so ashy.
Yep. That I have to stand
that I
out.
had to write how much money people owe me on the side of my leg. And I didn't tell Dave and Neil because I didn't want to take a chance. I'm saying that's a stupid idea.
Yeah.
So, of course I was in the road because we were really in a project and it was cold down there. And I went to makeup and I said, give me some baby powder. He was like, you crazy? I was like, man, just powder me up. Right? And then they did, the crazy thing is, we doing a dice scene. They didn't have no dice on the set. So I said, give me a handful of baby powder. So I put the baby powder in my hand.
And that's what you rolled.
I put the baby powder in my hand. And when I blew it the first time, it was only one take. When I shook those dice and said, Marcy, son, when I blew that dust out, everybody went nuts.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was in fact, that sketch was the first time we had somebody outside of our crew. And when I say that, Eddie Griffin was in there. He was grits and gravy, right?
Sheesh.
And that sketch was designed. It was written for Dave and Eddie to be the stars of that. Right? If you look at it, me and Charlie had little roles.
Like supporting cast more so than anything.
Yeah, but I was like, I went so hard. And I remember Charlie looked at me and he said, I can't say it on here. He said, N-word. Do you know what you're doing to this sketch right now? And I was like, I don't know. He said, man, you killing it. I didn't.
You're stealing it.
You stole the show.
I didn't feel it, right?
Right.
And then Eddie Griffin said something. He said, the beauty about your acting, Donnell, is you don't have a problem with getting ugly. Meaning, I'm not worrying about how my hair looks because I don't have any hair.
Yep.
I'm not worrying about my muscles or
Yep.
any of that. It's just like, I'm going for it. And
You're
that
giving it your all.
sketch, like, I don't know, it just resonated with people in the streets. Like, as much as, the show was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And you get haters like, oh yeah, Ashy Larry is the only. Blah. I'm like, look, I am sorry that I happened to be a part of a show that made television history.
That great.
I'm sorry that I was a part of a show that continues to be relevant in pop culture to this day. It doesn't matter what happens in the world of comedy or pop culture. Some reason a Chappelle meme will pop up.
Yep.
And that means that we laid the ground. Like if people don't remember me for anything, there's 2 shows I did. I think the Entertainment Tonight or one of those magazine publications, they did the top 100 shows in the history of TV. One being Chappelle Show, the other being HBO The Wire.
Yeah.
So
Both
if
your
you don't
aunts.
remember me for anything, like
Yeah.
anytime you mention a police drama, a gritty show, anytime you mention comedy, my name will pop up.
Come
Yeah.
on, Donnell.
Let's
go. Clap it
Slight
up for
flex, just a
Yeah.
little.
A little bit. I'm
My
nice with it.
My favorite part of the Ashy Larry whole thing was your relationship with your girl.
Yeah.
That was what caught me, and it's
Wow.
like just her.
So that's
being-
what Mexicans do. They just
That's
steal
why
out
you
of
stealing
people's
her
purse.
money,
Yeah.
and then
You
her
stole the
coming
money
out
out
like,
of
"Hey,
her
get
purse."
back in." Like
But
just that back and forth. That was so authentic. You
Yeah.
must have had a girl that treated you like that. Like, hey, come on, where's my
No,
money?
but I
at?
did. You know what? I did have a ride or die chick. Like years ago, I dated this chick, and it was unfortunate because she was with me. Like she was my ride or die. Like I used to borrow her car, get it towed, leave blunt guts in the seat. You know what I'm saying? Leave it.
You a dirtbag.
I was, but I was a working dirtbag.
Facts.
I had a future, but it was just like she was the chick that was down with me when I always had the potential, but that doesn't necessarily mean you make the money. I never felt like broke even when I was broke, right? And then when stuff started to turn for me, we had broke up. And I told her, I was like, the most unfortunate thing about this breakup is whatever success I get right now, if I'm not sharing with you, it's not going to feel right. Because I feel like I owed her that, right?
Yeah.
Cut to, we broke up. Then she had 2 other kids, right? And that relationship didn't work out. And
Oh, you
she tried to come back. I was like, nah.
No, you chose.
It's too late.
But hey, remember, it wouldn't feel right if it wasn't with me.
She wanted you.
Yeah.
She wanted you. Was it because she wanted you to be the stepdad that stepped up?
No, but you know what? To be quite honest, I was that. You know, I married her son at that time.
Already, yeah.
Was like 3 or 4, and I played that role. We were together for like 9 years, right?
Man, you
I
was
played that
tricking.
role. No, I mean, this is what I hate fathers that are not in their kids' life.
Me too.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
Like it's the worst thing
You
ever.
could do to a
you know,
child.
and even though I know in certain circumstances where you're not able to be with your kid, and a lot of times that's like incarceration or whatever. But I don't. These guys that do bids and then get out and then don't put the focus on trying to create
Rebuild,
those
yeah,
memories.
yeah.
I didn't like it, so I felt like I never had a problem. I was like, if I accept her, I had to accept her son. And to this day, some of her son's best memories as a child was with me. So, respected that.
Is he allowed to come to the shows? Do you still keep in touch with him? Because even though an old girl moved on, had those kids, wanted to come back, and you were over it, like, do you still keep that relationship? I always trip out on that.
Every once in a while, he'll call me, like, just a random call. And it's weird because he'll be like, I really appreciate you in my life.
Yeah.
He's a grown man now. I'm an OG. You see the gray hair, right? He's like...
Salt and pepper.
Yeah, I like
Vibes.
that. That's a lot better.
Little
That's what the young girls trick us with. I like that salt and pepper. Don't dye your beard, Daddy. Don't buy your Hey, Diddy. What's up, Diddy? Hey, Diddy. They make you feel good until you get into that first argument, right?
Like,
that first
you
argument.
old.
Yeah, the first thing they say, with your old ass. You need to go sit your old ass. Did you drink your prune juice today, old man?
You know my work. All right, look.
But he does. We keep in touch every once in a while. He's in Atlanta now, and when I'm there, we try to catch up and get lunch or dinner, something like that. But
That's awesome.
Yes.
Look, you have a show starts tomorrow from the 17th to the 19th
Yep.
at the Ontario Improv.
Yeah.
It's going to be a blast. Stand-up comedy is like second nature to you already, right?
Right.
But what about making your son, who's 7 years old, laugh?
About making your shit.
that's the toughest.
Yeah.
That's the
I bet.
toughest. Because he thinks he's a comedian.
Ah.
Yeah, but when he was younger, like when you making a kid laugh from like ages 1 to 4, you just got to say stuff like "ew"
Yeah. Potato.
or
And then-
"caca." Like I took him to a funny story. I took him to Montreal Comedy Festival with me years ago, right? And his only joke was like he would just say "caca" and everybody started laughing, right? So he was backstage, right? And he couldn't see the audience. Audience couldn't see him, but he was in the back, and I was ripping. He was in the back, like, "Yo, my dad is killing it," right? And then I said something about caca, right? And his face looked like, I can't believe this dude stole my stuff.
I wrote that.
He was like, he went from laughing to like, man, you a hack. He was looking at me, right? And the crazy thing was, and I brought him on stage, and it was like as soon as he's like, man, I did on the DNA, I nailed it. He's a handsome, beautiful kid.
Beautiful.
So he walks on stage, he's automatically getting the R's. So I picked him up, and I was like, Austin. He was like, what? He's still looking at me like he beefing. He said, what?
They hit it like Carlos Mencia with Joe Rogan.
Yeah, oh, no, we're not that type of beef. I'm so happy that's dead, son. But then he's looking at me, right? And I said, do you got a joke? And his face looked at me like, I was going to do caca until you stole it. How long you been doing comedy? I wrote one joke, and I stole this moment. But
that's the nature of the business, though. You taught him show business.
Yeah. But he loves it. He's a funny guy. He's a funny guy in school. He always say, I'm funny to you. Very, very, very funny kid.
I love that. Okay, so just for clarity, you have a black Salvadorian son, and you named him Austin.
Right.
Why?
Because I wanted him to have a fair shake in life on paper.
Smart.
You know what I'm saying?
On paper. Okay, Austin Rawlings on paper.
Now you're like, you're under arrest.
Jesus? No.
No, I get what you mean, because my dad's name is Sigifredo.
Oh, yeah? Automatic profile.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
automatic, like watch your catalytic converter. No, but
Austin just sound like a school shooter.
But I wanted originally, it's my only son, my first kid. I originally wanted him to be Donnell, right?
Yeah, like a junior.
Yeah, but his mother was like, no, we went back and forth. She didn't want him Donnell. Donnell is his middle name.
And if you get a Salvi woman mad, she wins.
Oh, yeah.
No, she gonna win. But I wanted Austin. I wanted him to have fair shake in paper, and then I even made it real cocky. I spell it with an E. So when he spells his name, he can say that's Austin with an E.
Hold on.
Oh.
Let me spell.
Austin.
Instead of an I?
Yeah.
Austin. Ooh.
Yeah.
In Spanish? Okay, so does she have a lot of Spanish like relatives?
Yeah.
Can they say no, but can they say Austin? Or do they say Austin?
No, they say Austin.
Austin. I don't know.
Well, the E, I
if
feel
you
like
give
helps
the
it
name
out.
too white, low key,
Yeah.
we make up other names.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How would it sound? How would it sound?
Austin.
Austin.
Vente Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, his aunts, that's how they pronounce it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but their English is half and half, so they
That part.
close to
How did her
close as
family
possible.
feel about having a baby with a black guy?
How did what?
How did her family feel about having her having a baby with a black guy?
It was in the works because her mother had had a black boyfriend.
Yeah.
So she broke the
generation
color
to
barrier.
generation.
Yeah,
You guys,
one.
and then it's like
once you go black, you know what they
that
say.
part.
But no, it was like, you know, it not passed on, but
Yeah, it was passed on. It's hereditary.
It's
It's in the DNA.
It was passed on.
her mother made it easier.
They love making Blackadorians over there.
Mija, Cerota tiene que tener con un novio.
Yeah, but his grandma,
Moreno.
We got to call her Mima. She was
Mima.
like, she's too young to.
Yes,
grandma.
we do that. Yeah, my mom doesn't want her. No abuelita. They need nana because then she feels old. But it's like, hey, lady, you're old.
But I got a funny story about that. I'll save it for. I'll
Oh,
save
for
that
the
part.
improv? I love that for the improv.
I'll save that for the improv.
Is she a baddie?
Huh?
So
No,
you're
I'll
a
just
baddie?
save it for the improv.
You guys have
I've been on Terry Improv all weekend, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Tell you the things that can ruin my relationships.
no. And then Austin, shout out to Austin.
Shout out
He
Austin.
loves pupusas.
He's a pupusa head. Like, he's a pupusa. Daddy, I want pupusas. Daddy, can you get pupusas from my favorite spot? And I don't know if you into pupusas, but it's the Home Depot
I need to find
on
that, yeah.
Sunset and Western. Once you come if you come in from Hollywood, you make a right
Mm-hmm.
to the
Yeah.
parking lot. You'll see it. It's just a line of different
Vendors.
grills and
Vendors,
stuff.
yeah.
And as soon as you make a right, they got the best pupusas in the game.
I need to try that because if 7-year-old Austin said this is the best pupusa, I need to figure
Well,
it out.
you know why, right? Because that area is like a Salvadoran corridor where like a lot.
Oh,
yeah,
the
for sure.
corridor.
Yeah, corridor. So it's like everything there, like
You got to get it right.
ball boy, yeah. Everything Salvadoran around there, the clubs, the food, and the vendors. You know, when
Yeah.
you're more towards like downtown, it's like tacos and more Mexican regional food. But when
And
you're around the South,
I love it for him because I like him to connect with both sides,
Yeah.
both cultures. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? As much as I want him to appreciate some lemon pepper chicken wings, you know, I want him to
Have that
appreciate
too.
pupusas the same way.
that's dope that he loves.
Yeah,
No, he
both
loves them.
sides.
Like,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm telling you, like he would eat them all day. And I get him. You got to get up early. I get 6, and before school, he's banging out 2 of them. As soon as he gets home from school, Daddy, I need more pupusas. Damn. Yeah, he loves them. And I made them before too.
You've made them?
Yeah.
I know a lot of Salvi people that can't make them.
No,
You made pupusas.
Yeah.
Come on. What'd you put in it?
I don't even remember. But I did. You could Google anything.
Yeah. True.
I did it with the,
YouTube
but he didn't
short.
like the one. I did it with the chicharrones. With the,
chicharrones, come
yeah, chicharrones,
on.
whatever you call it. Look,
I
I'm
love
like
it.
chicharrones, whatever. he was like the bean and cheese joints, and it
Yeah.
they looked
Revuelta, the
good.
revuelta one.
Fire.
Yeah.
I'm getting so happy right now and hungry at the same time.
Yeah, it looked good. And,
Does baby mom still let you have some pupusa?
Nah,
Oh.
that's
Shout
done.
out to her.
I mean, I almost even wanted to pay for some pupusas. not in a prostitute way, but my son said, "Daddy," he said, "Could you ask mommy to give me a brother or sister?"
Oh my gosh! Like
Real
for her
talk,
to be like the surrogate. Like, hey, we might as well.
Yeah, and I don't want to do it like the professional way, like the bottle.
Why?
I want to get up in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yo, you can tell it's a certain stroke when
Yeah.
you know you hit.
It's
I knew the stroke. I was like, oh, somebody about to be pregnant.
Get you pregnant today.
No, but
because
I mean,
we all love
Yeah.
pupusas over here.
Yeah.
my
my baby mama's Salvadorian too. So.
yeah.
Are we still talking about food or are we talking about...
Doesn't matter.
You can eat both.
Okay.
You can eat both.
All right. Our guy Jose was like, you need to talk to Donnell about fishing. You've taken up fishing. It's something that's both therapeutic and something you could do with your child.
Yeah. I mean, for a guy, and I know I'm offending somebody. Well, why couldn't it be a woman? Why couldn't it be a... But I'm telling you, that's one of the memories a dad has with his son. Take your kid fishing for the first time,
Right.
catching the first fish. And for me, like these things with my son, I go above and beyond because my dad was in and out of my life. You know, he stayed in prison. I don't have anything bad to say about him. He passed away like 3 years ago. But he chose a lifestyle. He had a lot of kids.
Yeah.
He chose a lifestyle that didn't give him opportunity to spend as much time with his kids as he wanted. And I told myself, I got like 2 handful of memories with my father. I'm like, that's not going to happen with Austin. I'm like this. I'm like Austin, like I tell everybody, and I encourage this even with my Instagram. I always post people like, why you always posting a picture with your son? Because I want to let people know this is how it could be done. Yeah. This is the right thing to do. So fishing, the first time I took him fishing, and I think he caught like a fish. It was like 4 inches. And I act like he caught a shark.
The shark. Oh, my
I was like, oh, bring him in. And it's just
Yeah,
something.
IT skills turn on. Come on, let's go.
Yeah. I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
But it's just something about you doing that with your son. And like, I've done that. There's other things I've done. But more importantly, the best thing you can do, I always tell people, you got to continue to make memories.
Yeah.
Because you can take it for granted now. But when you on your deathbed and you start to think about all the things you didn't do, that's when it's going to haunt you. So anything. And it's like, what people don't understand, like people say, well, Donnell, you got money, blah, blah, this and that. It's not about that with kids. It's the time. 2 of my son's favorite activities to do is to go to the gas station and to go to the car wash.
Ooh.
Right? And the reason he likes the gas station because it's candy in the gas station.
Yeah.
Facts. Only candy, too.
Yeah.
Only candy. So a while ago, he all of a sudden now he told his mother, he said he wants a Tesla.
Ooh.
Right?
Wow.
No gas station.
But that's what I told him. He said he wants a Tesla. I'm like, okay, you want a Tesla? He was like, yeah, I want a Tesla, Dad. I'm like, well, you know Teslas don't use gas, so we won't be going to the gas. No, I'm good.
I don't want no Tesla. Caca. Tesla caca.
I'm like, nah. I was like,
Let me get a Toyota.
Tesla caca. Yeah, and then he was like, nah, I'm good. And just like something simple as going to the car wash. You know, can I afford to have somebody come to the crib and wash the car, but do I get the memory of running around the car with my son with the soapy thing and everything? It's just simple stuff. I tell people all the time, it's not about the money, it's about the time. I know guys that have all the money in the world that don't spend time with their kids. I think that's awful. And I also know guys that don't have a pot to piss in that do the little
That
things.
are present.
That are present. So that's important.
Dad, before having your son, did you think fishing was for white people?
No. I mean, deep fishing.
Yeah.
The deep
Like
sea
wearing
fishing.
or wearing your overalls.
I'm thinking, man, you gotta stop hanging out with these white people.
No, yeah, but we just fish off of a bank.
Got
in a
you.
creek.
Throw the thing out. Yeah.
And then another thing, the difference white people fishing and black people. White people throw the fish back. They catch and release.
Oh yeah.
We're eating it. Yeah.
Anything catch and grease. Anything that make it in the boat is gonna get ate. I don't care if it's under regulation. We frying that bitch.
See, that was the problem.
White people like, just let me get the picture. Nah, man. Sushi.
That was the problem. That was the problem, man. You fried the pupusa.
Nah,
and then he was like, man, I don't want it no more.
Yeah. Now you making me have. I'm gonna have pupusa trauma. Now you just.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it right. I'm gonna go try to make some today just to redeem myself.
That's freaking awesome. No, Donnell, you're gonna be at the Ontario Improv March 17th through 19th. You guys gotta go check it out. Low key, we want to check it out. You
gotta go. And I just want to tell people, the show BMF, this season finale is Friday, right?
Yeah.
And I just want to let everybody know that this is a show that's real and not real.
Yeah.
I'm tired of people coming up to me thinking I'm Alvin.
Yeah. You are
They're like,
playing.
why you let him punk you? I'm like, no, I did. In fact, every time we did a scene where Lamar came into me real aggressive, I would roast him after he did it. And every time, one time we was in a vet, and they said, he's like, man, Blackie. I was like, man, I'm sorry to hear about Blackie. And he was like, man, you don't care about that dog. And I said, you goddamn right, punk ass, dirty, stinking ass dog. And the director said, cut! I'm like, what happened? He said, you can't talk to Lamar like that. I'm like, why? He disrespected me. They said, because if you go at Lamar like that, he said he would have smashed your head through a brick wall.
In real life.
So everybody that represents the street and everything, okay, that was me being an actor.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But I try to bring it back. But
TV has this funny way of like it's pretend, guys.
Yeah. But that show,
that show like BMF is like where like people are so invested, which is a good thing and a bad thing, right? Because people are like, damn, this is a dope show. Like we're real invested. But then it's like it's still TV and entertainment.
Yeah.
Right? Chill out.
Yeah. Like I tell you, it's based on the true story. But that 50 Cent has an eye for giving people what they want.
Right.
And it was a no-brainer. The story of BMF in that era, in music and hip hop and everything, you hear it in music and everything. So people are into it because some people that was during that time had those experiences. Yeah. And some people heard the stories with Rick Ross talking about it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Right. Jeezy talking about it. So it was one of those shows. And me, I don't do a lot of acting, but I've been lucky enough. When I do get a gig, it's something that's popping. Everybody is watching at the same time.
Who's somebody that you've roasted that you thought you would never be able to roast? Maybe like a super rich person, or like a super big actor or artist, and you were like, "Damn, that was on the bucket list that I just cooked them."
I don't know. I don't really go at people. I started as a heckler. You know, I used to go to this comedy club and I used to heckle comedians. Wow. And I got so popular being a heckler, people started coming to the show to watch me heckle.
Wow.
Like the pros. And I got so cocky with it, I would go every Tuesday, Comic Connection Greenbelt and out in Maryland. And people started coming, and I got cocky. I went to the club owner, and I said, you notice that I've increased your business by 40%. I tried to get a door deal as a heckler.
Wow.
I was like, well, I think you need to start cutting me. He was like, man, if you don't get out of my face. He dared me to go on stage. I didn't do it that week. Following week, I went on. First time I ever touched stage, standing ovation.
Wow.
Never looked back. I moved. I was doing comedy for 6 months. I made it on Def Comedy Jam. I was working as a security guard in a grocery store, and I needed to move to New York. I was like, I don't got no money, so I made sure I got fired so I could get unemployment.
I love you.
Went up to New York with my
middle. If you quit, no unemployment.
I was like, nah, they gotta fire me. I took my Air Force duffel bag. I had an alarm clock, probably like $45. One of my friends that told me I could. He kept telling me every month. He was like, yo, you should come to New York. You can stay on my couch, blah. I'm like, I ain't gonna do it. Then one Wednesday I called and I said, I'm moving to New York. He said, when? I said, Friday. Never looked back. Never gave myself another option.
Come on.
Never been in a situation where I said, is this the right thing to do? And this is what I tell everybody in this business. In this business, you have to know how to be happy and broke.
Jeez.
You got to be able to be happy when you broke.
Yep.
Right? Knowing that you're going to see a better day. But if you can't be happy broke, you're not going to make it in this business because it's most of your career is being broke. But if you know that deep down inside, you know, like, I'm going to get there. Even when I was dealing with that girl, I was like, you know what? She wanted a certain lifestyle I couldn't give her then, but I was like, be patient. I'll be able to do it. Everything you want, I'll be able to do it. And, like, I used to get excited about getting paid $25 in New York because I knew I could get a 5-pound bag of potatoes. And this is the first time I was introduced to deli meat, where in D.C., like, if you want bologna or whatever, you had to get the whole pack. In New York, you be like this. I want $1.82 thinly sliced. So
They'll
I
give
thought
you that.
I was like, man, I got enough food for the rest of the week, and that's gonna get me to the next gig.
That's that model that keeps you going. Because a lot of people check out if the money's not there up front. But hey, guess what? The money's not there up front.
Yeah, but the love is like, and it's something to be said about being able to control your hours. You do what you want to do. You know, like I don't have any regrets. People always say, was it a tough time? I never had a tough time because I didn't have expectations that I knew I couldn't reach.
Right.
I used to always give myself small goals. I wasn't like, I need a sitcom. I'm like, first off, I need to get paid from $100 to $200 to $300 to $500 to door deals. And if you understand that, you'll be all right.
I love
Everybody's
that.
not built for this.
No.
They think they are.
Yes, the esteem, the not entitlement, but it's very easy to dream of it up front. But that first no turns a lot of people away. It's just continuing
and
going
mostly
on.
in this business, and more so for acting. That's one thing I could say about stand-up. Acting, like, the level of rejection is crazy.
Yeah.
But as a stand-up, every time, the advantage that we have is every time we go on stage, we're auditioning. If you figure out a way to have a point of view, if you figure out a way to have some type of characters, producers can see, like Tim Allen, one of his biggest specials, one of his lines was, the Home Improvement show came off of, so I rewired it. It was one thing about how guys feel about going to the hardware store and buying these power tools. And it was maybe one or two sentences where they saw, this is the show, and this is how we can move forward with that.
Wow. Okay, I want to get your take on this because it was a real big thing that we're definitely talking about in here. You know, Duno's an up-and-coming comedian, and we saw a friend of ours or someone that we're a fan of, Ralph Barbosa, kind of go through a back and forth with George Lopez and kind of showing you the differences in generations,
right?
I
saw that. I ran up in some kind of way.
How would you feel, like, how do you feel towards the younger guys or people that potentially want to open or that you see kind of making their way different than how you guys made it? Because time is different.
But see, the thing is, a lot of OGs just stuck in how they made it, passing out flyers, whatever.
Yeah.
And they don't want to. And I give props to the younger guys that can create their own platform through social media and everything. But I don't like. I'm not gonna get into it too much.
Yeah.
But I don't like the ones that don't understand. It was people like George Lopez, Paul Rodriguez, Carlos Mencia that paved the way and opened the doors for people to even look at you as somebody we want to give that platform.
Give a stage to
I
it
understand.
all.
I did a show with Chappelle and Ralph. What's his name again?
Ralph Barbosa.
And that's no disrespect. I'm just not too familiar with him. But he came and he did a guest spot. And then I started clicking on his stuff, and I see, like, people love him. You know, I wish that the younger generation would respect the people that came before them. The people that did it when it was really, really tough. Yeah. You know, and I know they go back and forth. And I think George Lopez said something like, who is this kid or whatever. He was kind of
similar low-key to what you said. Like, what's his name again? It seemed like very much like he didn't know who that person was. But then he kept, same. Yeah. It started like that. Yeah. And then it went off of like, well, me saying his name is going to earn him a spot that I don't know that he's earned yet. Like, he needs to like do it on his own before I give him that like cosign, so to speak.
But that's how it was when I first started. It was like everybody knew, all the vets knew I was a raw talent. Yeah. They knew that I was coming up fast, fast. I was doing it for 3 months. People thought I was doing it for 3 years, right? And some of them couldn't take it. But I always, and they used to play pranks on me, I always realized, like, okay, this is part of the process. Yeah. I did, going back to your story, there was a comedian, God rest his soul, named Fat Doctor. He was one of my mentors. And when I was a young gun, I'd go at anybody roasting, right? And I went at Fat Doctor. Right, and his name was Fat Doctor. He was fat, right? And I said,
Doctor or no?
Look,
Doctor or no? Was he a doctor?
No, he wasn't a doctor.
Okay.
Like he was a doctor like Dr. J and Dr. Dre.
Gotcha, Dr. Dre, yeah.
He's a Dr. J. He just put doctor on his name. And I told him, I said, yo, Fat Doctor, say here, doctor. He ain't no doctor. If he was a doctor, he would have gave himself a free tummy tuck. Right? I didn't know he was a little DC legend. And he went on behind me. And when I tell you, he mopped me up. He
made you regret that joke.
He roasted you.
I'm not gonna do that anymore. But with the Barbosa, Ralph Barbosa.
Yeah.
Ralph Barbosa. He's on fire. They're positioning him to be the next guy. I just don't think there's no place to be disrespect on either side.
Either side.
You know, George Lopez might have, you know, misspoke on certain things, but he feels like, who is this kid? I paid those dues. I've done everything he was doing, and you will respect me. And then some youngins don't care. They're like, whatever. I don't care. I don't have to pay homage. I don't have respect. I'm going to get mine. But you also have to realize that if you don't humble yourself, you never know what's going to happen in this. And being humbled is different than humbling yourself.
I don't think that was a take though. I think his whoever he had on the show that day on the George Lopez show on the podcast, they were just mentioning that there's a new upcoming kid. They were talking about them how they could show better love.
Right.
And a lot of other comedians came out talking about how George Lopez would not let them would tell these venues,
like a Me
these
Too on
gigs,
George
like
Lopez after
the situation where, if there's another Latino, well, you can't book them if you book me. Yeah. So that was a take on that. It wasn't that Rob Barbosa went on stage and said, I don't care about the OGs. It was more like his name was brought up and he was like, stop bringing up that kid. I don't know who he is. Right. And you don't say that. I think it's how you say things. There's a difference between work hard and go get it, right, and then one day will work. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think putting somebody down that you've never met, that's doing their thing just because you might feel challenged somehow, or you might feel like they're taking your spot, or you're no longer the only Latino doing it, and we're just like Latino crime, right?
Brown.
Yeah, I think the way it came out was very hater vibes, and I think it was hater vibes. I don't think he meant it in his heart. It was like, oh, I don't like this kid. I hope he doesn't make it. But it was more like you see upcoming competition. And the Rob Barbosa.
But the youngest today too, they like this one thing that I have an issue with, that is that this is a word they use all the time. Oh, you're not relevant. He's trying to stay relevant, right? And we're talking about people that have a career of 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. You
talking about relevancy.
Yeah, about relevancy. Yeah. I'm like, okay, not anybody. You can get hot. Even in the case of me, Facts. I've been hot. You know what I'm saying? And I keep it moving. But talk to me when you doing this for 30 years.
Facts, no.
Talk to me when you've laid it down where you've done stuff that's going to be a part of history. Talk to me when after 30 years, when all of your peers, I came up during the Def Jam era. You don't see a lot of the guys from Def Jam doing too much anymore.
Yes.
At that time when black comedy was real hot, everybody. Right. You do a 2-minute joke, that get you a stand ovation, you working across the country.
Boom.
But that was a part of it. That was like the hype. But then after a while, you realize everybody in that pool didn't have talent. And the cream started rising later. So when the kids, and I don't have no problem, I learned stuff from the youngins. But I will say this. You can talk that relevant stuff with me. I'm like this. I don't want to argue with you online. Let's take it to the microphone.
Yeah.
If you can handle this heat, after that, more power to you. But I'm not going to keep talking it up. And I'm rather, and I tell people all the time, George Foreman won a belt. He was 50 years old. So don't just because somebody has aged or been doing it a long time. But again, staying relevant. Staying every year. You even if you're not on TV, even not on film, I'm in the gutter. I'm in the streets. I'm always gonna do stand up. And that's the one place you always guaranteed to see me is on the stage.
Come on.
Nice. That's fine.
Man, Donnell Rawlings, I appreciate you coming through. I wish we could talk for 5 hours, bro. But you also have to do this improv. It's going down 17th through the 19th. That's tomorrow, Ontario Improv. You can get your tickets at improv.com. And you know what? Whenever you want to come by, chill with the Mexicans.
I thought this was a setup because my publicist was
Bring burritos.
They said, my publicist was like this. They want you in the studio. I was like, nah, they about to stab me or something. That's a setup. Black lives used to matter. Pow, pow.
It's American Me all over again.
But I used to I love, they always, people, I always prefer to come in studio because I used to do morning radio. I used to love the fact you wake up and then you hear the stories like you'll do a funny bit or a funny sketch. And then you drive down the street and somebody work for like Hostess Cake, like, yo, when you did that skit, like I used to love that connection.
Yeah.
They thought I was crazy. I used to get up early, smoke me a little wah. and
Letty need to smoke yourself a little.
I love it. No, thank you so much for coming
Thank
through.
you.
Ontario Improv.
Yeah, you're the new primo. That means cousin in Spanish.
Oh, I'll take that.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, all right, I'll take
Power
that.
106, LA's #1 for hip
Let's
hop.
go.
Come on.